Hi, I'm Jen Hand, a holistic nutritionist, a binge and emotional eating coach, and I've been helping women get out of the diet cycle for over 10 years. And in today's video, a deep dive into my process of how I successfully help women overcome the binge and emotional eating cycle. The process I use is a 4-pronged approach: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. It's a holistic view of how food impacts not just our physical selves, but our whole being. And in my process, I start with the physical. And why this is so important is because we are eating every day, multiple times a day. And so we have this time to practice, to integrate, to try things out, and to continuously learn from this process of what works in a better and better way for our bodies, and taking that feedback to continue moving forward. So the physical body rebalancing looks like regulating your blood sugar, learning how to eat regularly and often, and in what amounts and cadence and types of food work for your body. It's all about learning to develop a relationship to sugar. How do you want to approach it? And your relationship to food, hunger and fullness, learning how to listen to your body, hearing hunger cues, and beginning to trust yourself, all part of regulating and rebalancing your physical self, so that then that becomes the jumping off point to get into the deeper work of the mental, emotional, and spiritual. So our mind has a significant influence over what we say to ourselves, how we feel, and what we're choosing to eat, because when we're locked in a food battle, sometimes we just want the voices to go away. And so we eat over that ping pong match that's going on inside of our heads. So looking at your mindset, your diet rules, the shoulds, the food guilt, the all or nothing mindset, getting out of perfectionism, finding a space that's the gray area where you're not in either extreme of restricting and saying, I have to eat certain things, I'm very rigid, or the super permissive and feeling like this, screw it, I can have whatever you want. So we're working with the mind in this process to say, hey, what is going on between my ears that impacts not only how I'm eating, but what I'm eating as well. Oftentimes in the mental piece, body image arises too. What we're saying about our bodies, how we're viewing our bodies, so much of that is mental. So this becomes a crucial part of the puzzle as we're looking holistically at how do we heal not just the physical and the emotional pieces, but how do we begin to view our body in a way that better serves us? A big part of my process is looking at emotions. So this really dives into where are we using food and how do we learn to deal with those feelings without eating? A lot of times growing up, we didn't learn coping with life without turning to food. So how do we move through boredom? How do we handle stress? How do we deal with overwhelm? How do we process sadness? And what do I do with those feelings? That's always a big one. Learning how to actually feel. What are the tools? Where do I turn when I'm feeling something I'm not sure I know what to do with? Limiting beliefs also comes into play here. So really looking at what am I believing about myself and how can I get unstuck and overcome some of the things that are holding me back so that I can continue to move forward. Lastly is the piece that really dives into the void within, the spiritual connection we have to ourselves. This looks different for different people, but one of the things that's so crucial in this path, because if we're empty inside, if we don't feel on purpose, if we don't have a sense of connecting to who we are, we can try and fill that with food. And so part of the process of healing our relationship with food is looking at the emptiness within, the void, purpose, feeling fulfilled, having connections with people and ourselves, and feeling like we're living a life that reflects who we really are. So this can be moving through things like forgiveness, through self-sabotage, through triggers that send us into the food, and the deeper reasons of why we subconsciously oftentimes hold our success back. These are some of the bigger themes that can play into the healing of our relationship to food. So my process is really intuitive. There are, of course, main themes that run through the struggles that most people have with food, but I like to think of it as a tangled ball of yarn, and as we pull one piece and another piece, they're seemingly unconnected, but actually everything is interrelated, and no matter what angle you're tackling things from, it helps to untangle the whole mess inside of ourselves. So really, it's guided yet flexible in that I help you untangle what your stumbling blocks are. And really, through this process, my intention is to help you guide yourself back to you as the expert in you. So you feel like you can move through life and handle anything, no matter what life throws at you. And truly the path towards sustainable, lasting change is through healing, working through, shifting, and understanding some of these deeper issues that unlocks the struggles we've been having around food to stop overeating naturally, effortlessly, because we don't need to turn to food anymore. Similar to emotions and similar to binging, we get out of the cycle, we slowly and gradually release what no longer serves us so that we move forward in a balanced, holistic, sustainable way. If you do want to learn more, book a discovery call so we can chat in more depth how coaching can help you find food freedom, stop binge and emotional eating, and help you live the life that you truly deserve.